Hey guys, before we talk about WWE Backlash, I want to talk about helixsleep.com/fightful. Before we were even partners with Helix, I needed a new mattress. I was tired of not getting the sleep that I wanted, waking up feeling exhausted. So I went and found the highest reviewed mattress on the market, and I found over 30,000 five-star reviews. Found reviews from Good Housekeeping, GQ, for Helix Sleep. Now we have helixsleep.com/fightful. I went and took their test and got matched up to the mattress right for me. And there are plenty of options. Ones that cool you down, ones that align your spine, even ones for kids and plus size sleepers. I got matched with the Dusk Lux model and got a couple of their incredible free pillows. Now you can do the same. Go take their sleep quiz. Find the mattress that is right for you, and you'll be able to get that mattress and try it out for 100 nights risk-free. If for any reason you don't like it, you're going to like it. They will come pick it up for you. You can't beat that. Ideally, you spend about a third of your life in your bed anyway. You want to make sure that you invest in that. Avoid those night sweats, the back pain, the motion transfer, all that stuff. Get helixsleep.com/fightful. I'm glad that I did my research. It has significantly changed my life for the better. They have an incredible number of sales going on throughout Memorial Day, the summer, even 4th of July this year. Check them out. helixsleep.com/fightful. What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. It is May 10th, 2025. I am Sean Ross Sapp. This is your Fightful post-show review for WWE Backlash, a show that I really enjoyed watching for a number of reasons. One, the corporate synergy, FightfulSelect.com, which I'll tell you more about later, reported that you guys could expect for this show to end before 10 p.m. Eastern. Why is that? Because UFC has a pay-per-view tonight in Montreal. TKO, parent company of both, wants to kind of work those in cohesion, so to speak. But we also had some other scoops that came to fruition. We'll tell you more about FightfulSelect.com later. The best $5.99 a month in the business. If you're here, leave a thumbs up. You can get in your super chats or Humper chats to get your question or statement read on the air. It really guides what we talk about, and get your questions in. Fightful Select breaks more wrestling news than anywhere on the planet. If you like that Q&A format, that's a good place for you as well. Again, we'll talk to you about that later on. But WWE Backlash, this show, it felt like what was a quick turnaround because WrestleMania was so late in the year, later than it's ever been. So here we are like 3 weeks later, and you got the 5-match show. So they put together a really quick one. I was surprised Jey Uso and Logan Paul wasn't on this, but they're saving that for Saturday night's main event. But still, plenty to talk about on this show. And one, again, that I really enjoyed. I thought it was great. They also announced Night of Champions for June. Shout out to bodyslam.net that had reported this, I believe, maybe a week or two ago. But Fightful Select also revealed there's only one Saudi show this year. Might be more next year. But, man, let's get into it. Again, get your super chats, get your Humper chats in. Our wonderful moderator, Luis, will take them down and apply them to whatever segment it is that you guys want to talk about the most. And yeah, man, like this was a lot of fun. And again, a crisp 2 hours, 45 minutes. I can get behind that. I really enjoyed that. Show's over before 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm on here talking with you guys before 10 p.m. Eastern. Listen, I'm getting old, buddy. I am completely fine with that. My good friend Sean, who covers MMA, was like, "Oh man, they shouldn't do these on Saturdays. You should be Sundays." And I'm like, not us wrestling fans. We prefer this Saturday, or at least I do. Most of our audience seems to as well. But man, let's go ahead and get into it now. A shout out to Bet Online, our wonderful sponsor. Please only bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. They gave us odds for all these shows, and we had some fantastic tips. We went 5 for 5, including a lock pick of John Cena retaining tonight. We're going to tell you more about that, but it's not just pro wrestling. It's NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, WNBA is coming up soon. Bet Online, trusted by millions. Check them out. They again gave us the odds for wrestling way before they were a sponsor with us, but they had Jacob Fatu as a favorite tonight. And Yeah, boys, at FightfulSelect.com, the best $5.99 in the business, confirmed today Jeff Cobb was in St. Louis and that he was pitched for the Bloodline story. I'm interested to see what you guys think about that because you know what? Let's get there first. Jacob Fatu wins. Phenomenal match. LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. They delivered. I mean, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre work the fast-paced WWE style match as well as anybody, in my estimation. And WWE really, really does do those 3-4-way matches very well. They are able to really marry the WWE style of, talking your trash, acting throughout the match, and adding pro wrestling to it as well. And in a 4-way, and I've mentioned this a number of times, you can get away with a lot more action there without applying all the psychology, because if one person goes down, you still got 3 others there to go and do the next spot and all that. So those 3 and 4-way matches really, really play into the fast pace and action that you need out of this generation as well, and to draw some interest to this United States Championship, because let's be real, they have booked that United States Championship pretty terribly for quite some time. I do have some questions moving forward about what LA Knight does, because is he just going to continue to be involved with this group? That seems like something that he would do. It doesn't seem like he would move on from the United States title just because. But also, he doesn't have a Braun Strowman there to help him out. Braun Strowman got released recently. So I want to know who it is that's going to help him. I can't see Drew and Damian working together. As Tim says, any updates on Drew as he went through that table with the South of Heaven? Looked incredible. I don't have any updates, but I will find out. I will put out an inquiry during one of our ad reads. I will actually send an inquiry. But I just think that WWE does these multi-man matches really well. And obviously, AEW does as well. That's what sort of masks some of the psychology there as well. But in WWE, you don't always see that. Although I will say, lately on PLEs, you have seen a much more fast-paced or move type of thing. You're not seeing as many like, oh, let's slap on a chin lock. Let's do that. We did a little bit during the Dominic thing. There was an awful lot of interference on this show. Like, as I'm looking up and down the show, every single match had interference except for the Lyra Becky one, which was full of shenanigans as well. But this style of match for WWE works out exceptionally well. There were some really good spots as well. Priest keeping Drew from getting the 3 count on LA Knight. And they really maximized, well, it's something they maximize an awful lot of. WWE is very good at building the anticipation of a moment more than the moment itself. And by that, I mean Drew and Jacob face off. You will see 20 of those a year on a PLE. You'll see probably 10 of them in a Rumble, where just people will get in the ring and stare at each other. And they're like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the crowd will go, OMG, they ate, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But they're very good at building up to those as well and making the audience go, oh my God, look at that. So again, I'm checking on Drew. South of Heaven through the table. Phenomenal spot there. Phenomenal spot. I really like the barricade Samoan drop. But what I like about Drew and Damian Priest is, man, like sometimes they will butt heads backstage over things that are said, things that are done, but they get out there and they beat the snot out of each other. And knowing those two gentlemen, they're like, no, we're good. Please go ahead and hit him. Hit me harder. That's what they do. So let's talk about what happened here. Damian and Drew are taken out. LA Knight's fighting back, has a very good back and forth with Jacob Fatu. And Solo Sikoa comes out and saves Jacob Fatu from the LA Knight elbow drop through the table. And then that's not quite enough, and Jeff Cobb shows up. Now, This is an easy plug for FightfulSelect.com. The best $5.99 a month in the business. If you don't want to pay for wrestling news, I understand, but it's not just wrestling news. We have podcasts. I do Q&As over there all the time. I've got a Discord that made a bunch of headlines this week. You can talk to me there as well. I was in the live thread there as well. But a couple months ago, Fightful Selected reported Jeff Cobb has signed with WWE. He is on the internal roster, and he is headed that way. Even though he was claiming he was retired and they put a title on him in New Japan for some weird-ass reason. I don't get it. But today we reported he is in St. Louis, and he was pitched for the Bloodline angle. So before we get to any of that, Jacob Fatu did not seem happy about this. Jacob Fatu has a history with Jeff Cobb as well. Can't remember if they named him by name on the broadcast, but Jeff Cobb wins. Fightful Select's Bet Online pick. Jacob Fatu wins. So Jeff Cobb, when I heard he was going to be involved in the people say they did in this angle, I was like, okay, this one's a little too far, right? Because you've got the bloodline. You got Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso. You involve Paul Heyman because Paul Heyman managed a lot of the family. You bring in The Rock. Everybody knows the blood brother connection there. People are asking for Naomi because she's married into the family. Some people asked for Nia Jax. She's more associated with The Rock than anybody else, not necessarily tied to the Anawais. People mentioned Tamina because, listen, The Rock and Tamina grew up together. And it's like, okay, they bring in Sammy Uso as that guy's not really involved with the family. Then when they brought in Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, there were a lot of people that were like, oh, now come on. But I got that. I understood that. Haku has long been involved with that family as well. And those are Haku's kids. So Haku, Ming, he teamed with Rikishi 20-some years ago. There was a natural connection there. The Rock has mentioned calling him Uncle Tonga. Bought him a pickup truck 10 years ago. There were connections there. But also there was plenty of side-eyeing about bringing people that weren't in the family in. Not the first time that's happened, though. But, I am interested to see how or if they mention Jeff Cobb is connected, right? A little bit different here. The geography isn't geographing here. It's not working. But, as soon as I heard Jeff Cobb was going to be involved, I go, of course he is. Of course he is. I think he'll fit really well with this as well, though. But it's kind of interesting, right? Kind of interesting that that's the route that they went. Oh, man. I was incredulous. That's what I was. I was incredulous when I heard, well, they're putting Jeff Cobb in that storyline. Of course they are. Of course they are. Another highlight of this was Drew being held up to the camera and Damian saying, he's bored at work. He's bored at work. That was so good. That was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Lyra Valkyria defeated Becky Lynch. Now, here's one for you. In our FightfulSelect.com scoops thread, we mentioned Lyra was a betting underdog. I'd mentioned that all week. Our wonderful friends at Bet Online, listen, we cost them a little bit of money here because I was telling you guys, Lyra is going to win this match. Now, I thought Bailey was going to get involved, rather. I thought that was for sure going to happen to sort of further that storyline. But I saw Lyra Valkyria as anymore a rare underdog victor in these Bet Online odds. Bet Online has been pretty well on the money of late. But I looked at that and I was like, man, I don't know what Becky really gains from winning this, But Lyra can gain an awful lot from winning this. You know what I mean? As I will ask our moderator, Luis, if he is updating the Super Chats, Humper Chats, as I don't see them updated. But I just didn't see how Becky stood to benefit from winning this. And with Lyra, I felt like she needed to. I felt like it was really, really important for her to get this victory. And I felt like it would have brought a lot of Lyra's momentum to a screeching halt if they didn't have her win. And Lyra's been really coming along. She's been doing good on the promos. I do feel like Lyra was put in a position to where she would get over on the microphone. I do feel like there was a situation where Becky was sort of holding back a little bit in those promos. But still, Becky was also not going to go out there and bury people like people claim that she does. I thought this match was really good. There were some elements of this that I just thought were fantastic. Becky goading Lyra's fiance, who in his own right is one of the more booked independent wrestlers out there. Like, he's wrestled like 100 matches over the last year. Wrestles in Japan, wrestles in the UK, in Canada. In the US, he did Noah. He did New Japan fairly recently. Like, he's all over the place, man. He is all over the place. But I thought that first off, I was surprised that they had him do that. But it did add a little bit there. It added a little bit to it. I'm interested to see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get like ID'd or something in the future as well. LJ Cleary. So they just had Becky beating Lyra's ass for quite some time, like quite a bit of time. And for somebody who doesn't do this style of wrestling quite that much, I'm going to be the cheating heel element, Becky was really smooth with it when she went and got that chair, intentionally got it taken away, and then undid the buckle. Thought that was very good. The crowd was there for this whole match. The crowd was loving it. And the crowd already gets involved in Lyra's entrance so much with the woos and all that. Just phenomenal work. Phenomenal work. I'll encourage you guys until I hear from my moderator. But yeah, just send super chats right now, as I have learned my moderator isn't here, by God. But we got this match going on, and I felt like it was the right thing. I didn't feel like ripped off or anything by this ending the way that it did. I saw people say, "Oh, well, the finish wasn't good." I'm good. If you get your shoulders pinned to the mat, that is a clean victory to me. That one's completely fine to me. I'm good with that. No problem with it whatsoever. None at all. A pin is a pin is a pin. Now, as long as it's not like a roll up where it's like easy shoulders on the mat and there's like no weight on the shoulders and the person's not struggling whatsoever. As long as it's not that, I got no problem with it. No problem with it at all. And this wasn't that. This was completely fine. This was great action, in my opinion. The right booking decision made me look good because I picked the underdog on FightfulSelect.com. By God. And man, I think Lyra showed an awful lot. I thought that she showed an awful lot throughout this feud and throughout this. And I'm like, okay, well, Lyra has been put over like pretty big time. Won the tag titles, got involved with Bayley, did a feud with her, emerged very, very well there. Like, I thought that it was just really, really good. And they're developing her pretty well. I do have access to Humper chats now. I'll be conducting these on my own. KE775 says, does Becky Lyra thing continue until Bayley return? I'm assuming around SummerSlam season. So, I would be surprised if it continues that far. I mean, I can't imagine Bayley missing that much time, right? I mean, she seemed like she was good to go for WrestleMania. I would be shocked if it went that long. Maybe it will, but I'd be very, very surprised. Very surprised by that. We have some Jeff Cobb super chats and Humper chats as well. I want to thank you guys for that. Rock Hard, Joel Wood said, Jeff knew the one-way ticket to being a lifer. Sign me up for one of them Bloodline gigs. Hell yeah, man. Listen, I am checking my ancestry DNA right now, and I'll be like, listen, I had a relative that visited one of the islands once. Please, just have me be a talking head on their documentaries at this stage. Just one of those. Cool Fool 1980 says, so happy for Jeff Cobb making it to WWE, but find it strange WWE let go of far younger talent and hired him at 42 years old. That's why I would combat anybody. I want to make this clear. I have never been told by somebody in WWE that somebody got let go for being too old. I have not been told that. Now, there's reporting elsewhere that claims that, and I can't speak to what they have been told. However, if so, it's absolute dog shit. It's stupid. Sitting there and claiming, well, it's because Dakota Kai just turned 37. And I got people saying, yeah, but she's got a history of injuries. Oh, okay, so she's been injured twice in the last 5 years. What? Okay, twice in the last 5 years. I know that 6-7 years ago, she had a knee injury. 2 times in the last 5 years is not bad. And don't throw that concussion at me earlier this year. She was back in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I don't want to hear that. Ridiculous. There are plenty of dudes that get hurt way more often and are older, or that you just don't use regularly. Listen, I'm not going to hold it against Jeff Cobb that he got hired there. Absolutely not. Did they forget about Hikuleo? He's been under contract. He's been on the internal roster. He's been at the Performance Center. He's just been chilling, man. Dude has just been chilling. Haven't heard much of an update. But I just keep being told, yeah, he's on the roster. Just hasn't been used. I know with Lance Anoa'i, he got hurt very early into him signing, and they didn't expect him to be around. But listen, whether you're benched or whether you want that main event performance, we got something for you. We talk a lot about main events, about living up to the hype. Fortunately, Blue Chew and the code FIGHTFUL has you covered. Maybe you lack that main event level confidence. You know, maybe you feel like you're on your road to retirement, but you feel like, you know what? No, maybe I can do one last rodeo, one last time. You got a lot more left in the tank with Blue Chew and the code FIGHTFUL. Have better sex. Have that confidence in your performance. Now, you might say, Sean, I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the pharmacy and have those awkward conversations. Well, fortunately, the only thing awkward about the entire situation is me doing this ad read, because when you're prescribed online, you consult with a physician there, and if approved, it ships straight to your door. You don't have to have that awkward conversation at the doctor's office. And you get the same active ingredients in Viagra and Cialis, but at a fraction of the cost. Get your first shipment free right at your house, right in your own home. What? Get that main event level performance without the backlash, so to speak. with Blue Chew and the code FIGHTFUL.
Yeah, boys.
At BetOnline and Fightful Select, both picked Dominic to retain over Penta. We're going to get to that in a moment. Mariah May or Saraya update, says a Humper chat that we got sent. Here's what I believe Mariah May is doing, and it's a hunch, it's not a report. I believe that she is letting her time wind down, and she is going to evaluate her options and see what the best offer is for her in her career. Very rarely does a talent do that anymore. Usually they re-sign before. You don't see a lot of people letting the time run down. Then they, evaluate an offer and then go back to a place. I'd be surprised if she doesn't go to WWE, but we'll see. Saraya. So it's interesting. Her management says she's a free agent. She can do what she wants, all that. AEW's roster page still lists her, and that's usually a really good indication of who is under contract with that company. So I'm going to follow back up on that this week because that one's a little more. It's kind of interesting that she's not off that page, that she's still on there right now. So let's talk about it, man. Dominik Mysterio retains. This is fine. Is okay. Wasn't like a great match, but there was some great stuff. Some really, really great stuff that happened in this match. That Dominic suicide dive into a tornado DDT was phenomenal. It was incredible. Like, that move is one that if anybody did, I'd be like, oh, damn. Like, I saw that and I was blown away. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously he's going to come along a lot different of a pace than a lot of other people. But we're talking about him being in wrestling for like 5 years now, and he's got the character stuff down. Like, he understands what his role is here. And I think we are on the verge of something special with Dominik Mysterio. I said it on my Twitter subscription thing, but like I've been banging this drum forever. Like, he is about to become a big baby face. The crowds love him. He took a Mexican destroyer on the apron, and this match, if you talk about from a where's this match rank perspective, 5 out of 5, like, for sure. It's the 5th best match on this show. But Judgment Day got involved. You had Carlito and JD McDonough and Finn Balor, who doesn't look happy with any of this. And then El Grande Americano headbutts Penta. Dominic wins. But beyond all that, like, we're clearly going towards El Grande Americano and or Chad Gable against Penta. And then Dominic with something with Judgment Day. Because the rest of Judgment Day seems keen on helping Dominic. Finn Balor took an awful long time doing that, but I've mentioned this on the air before. Karrion Kross is getting over with something sort of similar to what Sean O'Haire did, where he's sort of the devil's advocate, more than a devil's advocate, or more than I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. He's more of the devil on the shoulder. There are just elements of it, right? Bray Wyatt, there were elements of Waylon Mercy. It wasn't like a rip or anything, but people saw the Waylon Mercy gimmick. People saw the Sean O'Haire gimmicks, and they go, okay, well, if somebody really fine-tuned that, it could be something good. And we're seeing that with a lot of what Karrion Kross did. Not to say he was inspired by it, but we're seeing it really come together well. And I think vignettes like that would serve him well. You can rarely just steal a gimmick and take it. Demolition straight up stole Road Warrior's gimmick and made it a monster success. And there are a few other examples. Dominik Mysterio could 1,000,000% just steal the Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal gimmick, and it's hard for me to believe that anybody would really have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Because they have set that up with history, he could just do that, and people would love him for it. There's so much meat on the bone for that. And as much as I love Eddie Guerrero, one of the greatest of all time, I think Dominic is even better suited for it because he's not like a big, like, super jacked dude. We watched him raised as a kid in front of our eyes playing a PSP on screen. And people are going to love him for it if they do it. And I really hope they do. Oh, I really hope they do. To me, this is such a slam dunk. It is such a guaranteed thing. It is such a surefire win. And I hope they do it. FightfulSelect.com did have Dominic Mysterio as the winner of this match, and BetOnline had him listed as the favorite as well. Check out our friends at BetOnline AG. Gonna toot my own horn here with Gunther versus Pat McAfee. Beyond BetOnline and FightfulSelect.com scoops thread having Gunther to win this match. I can't remember if it was on Raw or if it was on Sour Graps or maybe both. But this match happened, I would say, about 80% to how I laid out it should happen. What I expected was Pat McAfee comes in, they'll kill a little bit of time. I thought that his dudes would get involved, and they didn't, but Michael Cole did, so not too far from that. But I felt like the way to get involved in this is he has a little bit of offense, gets the shit chopped out of him heavily. Gunther plays with his food. Then we get some McAfee fire up offense. And I even said some punts because he was a punter, for the love of God. Gunther kicks out at one, whips that ass. That's pretty well what happened. And I'm pretty happy with that. Like, again, that being a predictable element, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I found it very entertaining. Like, we're not going to sit here and act like Pat McAfee is a refined in-ring wrestler. But from an entertainment element, I had no problem with this. I didn't have a problem with it being booked either, because I figured it would be something like this where Gunther was playing with his food, and that's why Pat McAfee got some offense. So, again, you knew that Pat McAfee was going to get the hell chopped out of him. And especially once he took off the shirt, the Colts jersey, you knew that was the direction it was going. And then Gunther tries to fire some chops back, and Gunther's like, nah, buddy. Really hammers him down and then kicks him. So Pat didn't exactly stick the landing perfectly on the German suplex flips, but listen, man's been out of the ring for a long time. All things considered, I thought he did really good, and I thought it was a really great way to set up him landing a punt out of nowhere. Gunther goes and does that German suplex, and as he sits back up, Pat McAfee is already on his feet. Bam, you got the punt there. And then you run another one. Super kick left a lot to be desired. Pat, my man, you got to get the work in skinny jeans, not the shoot skinny jeans. If you're going to be throwing those kicks, my man, you got to hit up anybody, any pant dealer. Hit up the pant store, Pat. You got to find somebody that gives you that stretch, that flexibility. I'm sure he had some sort of working pants on. I want to know, were they working pants or were they shooting pants? What were they, Pat? I thought he did a good job in this. Michael Cole got dragged into the ring. Now, the only thing I did have a little bit more of an issue with is that a lot of full-time wrestlers don't get the hope spots on Gunther that Pat McAfee did. So they do book their announcers oftentimes better than their actual wrestlers. And he did the whole elbow out of the sleeper, elbow. And then Gunther's like, nah, bro, we ain't doing that. We're not going there, and put him out. Jeffrey Pridemore says, I'm a bit of a McAfee mark, been a fan since he got drafted. He loves this, knew he would nail it when he first started, and think he did again. I thought he did a wonderful job. Listen, I know there's a lot of people that just don't like Pat McAfee in general. I enjoy him. I like him personally. Like, he's always been very good to me, and been a good dude to me, and I find him very entertaining. I like him on Raw. I like this match as well. Listen, wouldn't be Wouldn't be the first or 100th time that I liked somebody personally, but thought their match sucked. But that wasn't the case here. I thought they did a really good job. And I was pretty confident that they would once it was Gunther. What I am happy about is that the FightfulSelect.com report from this week didn't end up playing a factor in this match. And by that, I mean Goldberg. So let's talk about that. FightfulSelect.com, the best $5.99 a month in the business, reported that Goldberg and Gunther has absolutely been discussed. For sure has been a thing discussed, and I don't know that it's the plan, so to speak, but it has been discussed. I also don't know if it'll be his retirement match, because I don't think Goldberg needs to be beating Gunther. And if he does, Gunther needs to turn right back around and beat him again. If Goldberg's career ends by pinning Gunther and that's it, I'm not going to be happy with it. But what I do think is that Goldberg has contributed enough to wrestling to get that type of send-off that he wants. Goldberg's always kind of viewed himself on a different level, but it's also easy to forget. That man was the most over man on the planet at one point. It was like you had to be there. You really had to be there. Did I like much in his 2016 to 2022 run? Not really. Not really. There were a couple good things, but I do think that his contributions to wrestling have been enough. And I think almost anybody should get at least somewhat of a send-off they deserve, but he certainly deserves one. And I bet he saw that Sting send-off and said, you know what? I'd like something like that. And I'd like for him to get something like that. I just don't want it to be at the expense of Gunther, and Gunther to not get anything out of it either. You know what I mean? That's how I feel on that one. Let's see if we got any other super chats, Humper chats on this bad boy. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Chat, I want to know how you watched this show tonight, because I had somebody hit me up and say, is it on Peacock or is it on Netflix? And I said, well, I'll tell you, my friend, if you're in the United States, it's on Peacock. If you're elsewhere, it's on Netflix, unless you got nordvpn.com/Fightful. Shout out to our friends at nordvpn.com/Fightful. 30-day money-back guarantee on this. Works on all your devices, all your operating systems, and there are a plethora of features. But let me tell you the one that really affects you. Yes, you, a wrestling fan. If you're looking to cut down on costs, if you're looking to save on your bills, all that good stuff. Maybe you want to cut cable, but you're like, man, I like watching SmackDown. I like watching NXT. Well, NordVPN.com for 2+ years is less than 1 month of YouTube TV. Think about that. Like 28 months, I think it is, less than 1 month of YouTube TV. And you may say, well, how will I still get to watch wrestling on that? Because if you have one Netflix subscription, you can watch Raw, of course, but you can change your virtual location and watch NXT, SmackDown, and PLEs. Now, listen, I'm sure USA and Peacock ain't too thrilled about me telling you all that, but it's very effective. It's wonderful. And you might say, well, I'm not sure I'll know how to use that. I was the same way. And not only did I try it out, I hit up their 24/7 customer support, and they helped me out as well. NordVPN.com/Fightful. And it's not just that. Listen to your favorites abroad. Are you going to see some WWE AAA shows in Mexico? Are you going to go to Grand Slam Mexico? Are you going to go to the TNA shows in Canada, maybe Forbidden Door? You can listen to your favorites abroad. Maybe there's a sports game locally. You're not going to be able to watch that overseas. They're going to have Naked Attraction or something on TV over there in the UK. But you change your virtual location with NordVPN, and you're going to be good to go. Also, shield your data from snoops and criminals, all that good stuff. NordVPN.com/Fightful. Let's talk about the match that everybody wants to talk about. And this was our BetOnline AG FightfulSelect.com lockpick. And I even said, like, well, here's the thing. The lockpick is for Cena to retain. I'm pretty sure he's going to win, but it's hard to say Like, will he manage to get himself DQ'd? There's going to be a lot of shenanigans and all of that. But we've got Kim Gray saying, any word on a John Cena documentary this year? They are filming stuff throughout the year. I don't know if it'll release this year, but it is being filmed throughout this year. And who do I think John Cena wrestles at SummerSlam? I think maybe CM Punk would make an awful lot of sense. I could certainly see John Cena facing CM Punk, and that'd be an okay one. Or maybe even like maybe Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker doesn't quite beat him, and Seth Rollins starts to show a little bit of, show a little bit of towards him. But this John Cena Randy Orton match, you either loved it or you hated it. I felt like it was the type of match that they needed to have. Randy Orton nowhere near his prime. John Cena, gosh, man, like I'm sitting here trying to remember the last time John Cena had a singles match as entertaining as this. Because I thought they did the right thing. They played the hits. Sometimes they played each other's hits, which we'll go into detail on. They did big spots, ref bumps, all that. Maybe probably one or two too many ref bumps, but they not only did they play the hits, they played the hits over and over and over again. It was bordering like that Vice article where the dude played The Boys Are Back in Town so many times that he got kicked out of a bar. Like, that's how many like RKOs and AAs we were seeing. A lot. But I think that's what you got to do at this stage, man. This is what you expect out of them. As far as like singles, one-on-one matches, I would say this is probably John Cena's best one-on-one match since probably Roman Reigns. And if you exclude that, and Firefly Funhouse was a completely different animal, so I don't think you count that. I'm thinking you probably got to go back to AJ Styles in 2018. So this is like in the last 7 years, first or second best one-on-one match he's had. Like real match. Real match. Oh, man. Vince Miggs says, in a vacuum, I was very sports entertained by that main event. Felt like an Attitude Era match. That said, they have some work to do to keep us interested through the summer, though. I haven't been a big fan of the John Cena heel turn. I haven't. I felt like when we got it, it would be so much more inspired. And it's tough for me to pass judgment right now because I get kind of mixed messaging when I ask about, like, was it always supposed to be like this? Or were there supposed to be some additional changes with The Rock? And right now, there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know. And I feel like maybe they're a little hesitant to speak out right now because I would say the Unreal documentary has a little bit to do with some of that, right? Like, some people are afraid that some of the things that they're going to say might end up playing out on screen, which I honestly figure they're going to cover their own asses on that show. They're going to work some of it, but it's one of those matches you either love or hate. I didn't hate it because the alternative was chin lock, arm bar. I would much rather see them spam finishers and each other's finishers than to see them slap on a rest hold. So Randy Orton did the 10 punches, but he went to 20 and then he paused after 14 because that's how many championships he's got. I loved the callback of their greatest spot ever. And it was out of the FU at that point, and Orton hit the RKO. And the fact that let's be real, the fact that in their mid to late 40s that these two gentlemen are still able to do that spot, ooh, I loved that. I loved that. We had Orton measuring up for a punt. There was RKO, a kick out on the belt attempt. They really played the hits. There were ref bumps all over the place. Then Orton started to do AAs to Cena. Now, there was one that was a little wild and comical. He did it on the announce table, and then the announce table collapsed afterwards. So Randy Orton drags out another table and does it through that. I think that was supposed to happen, the second one, but kind of made it just look like he was like, nah, I'm going to break a table with you guys. Black Yakuzu says, whole main event was such a train wreck that it brought down what was an otherwise 7-10 show. I miss Cody so effing much, man. Yeah, I hadn't heard that Cody was going to be at this show. I know that some other outlets had reported, oh, well, yeah, there have been pitches and all that. I just hadn't heard of him being planned to be on this show at all. And Bad Robot says, Cena's STF is ruining wrestling. Becky, Lyra ruled. So I'll tell you a spot that I noticed in the Gunther match. Gunther went into an STF instinctively. And then what I bet went through his mind is, I'm on the same show as Cena. I better switch this to a crossface. This is like what I imagine went through his head at that point. But why is it ruining wrestling? Why is that ruining wrestling? I also liked Orton drinking the Prime after he did that. Another RKO, belts to the refs, but let me tell you about the spot that I loved, and everybody seemed to love it as well. Aldis is out there, and Jordan says, if Orton isn't attacking R-Truth and Aldis on site and murdering people, no questions asked in the coming weeks, I'm not a fan. Logic says Aldis should have brought a ref when saving the other one or thrown out the match, so Randy's crash out was valid. Gonna talk about this at length. Love this spot and the ones that emanated from it, because there are probably more RKOs in this match than ever before. And in St. Louis, you got to do that. If you're not going to send them home happy with an Orton win, you give them 50 RKOs. So RKO on Aldis, on Jamie Noble, on Kenny Dykstra, on Shane Helms, on Sean Daivari, everybody. And they all took them phenomenally. This is why you have these producers that stay in shape and all that stuff. And we're not only that, you're talking like 4 or 5 of the best bump takers of their eras here as well. So I bet when they produce this spot, they're like, we got some guys that can really do this. And I love that. Like, these guys went from wrestling, in many cases, all the way up until they were producers for WWE. Now they get the opportunity to make somebody else look good, and they're like, bring it on. Hell yeah. Love that. R-Truth is out there. I know a lot of people didn't like this. I don't mind it, because this is what I think the John Cena heelish stuff should be more leaning into, playing off our emotions instead of the same old lazy shit we've seen over the last few weeks. I am all for the You People promo as an introduction, but he has not done anything original. It's been you people, then he gets laid out. Now, I know the story of John Cena this year has been, well, he actually kind of sucks now. He's old. He needs help. And that's fine, but it's been the same old thing. R-Truth comes out, gets RKO'd, but Cena cracks Orton with the belt and wins. He cuts a little promo afterwards. Didn't care about it. Didn't give a damn about that promo. But I am told that John Cena attacked R-Truth on the post show. On the post show. Put him through the scrum table. Love it. Love that. Play off of that. R-Truth is a beloved character. Everybody likes this guy. Play off of our emotions like that. This is what you need to do. And I think you do a John Cena R-Truth match sometime soon. Why not? I don't give a damn. Do one. Have him win something by a banana peel, or have John Cena cause him to win something just so he can whip his ass some more. Parker Hines says, was Jay Logan supposed to be on Backlash or somewhere else? It's Saturday night's main event. That's where it was supposed to be. That's where it's going. Now, let me tell you what Randy Orton should do. Randy Orton should say, you know what I want? One of two things. I either want Nick Aldis in a match, or I'm going to go to Raw. You're going to lose me if you don't fight me, because you've been costing me an awful lot lately. Or Just give me a gauntlet match with all those producers. All those producers you just saw out there. And those producers are naturally going to be like, Nick, you better take one for the team, because if we got to do that, our asses are going to Raw too, etc., so on and so forth. But in order to keep Randy Orton on his team, he faces him in a match. Please do this. Just let this damn man wrestle. Randy Orton can even say, I have lost all respect for you over the last few months. I said I had respect for you. Now I don't. And then by the end of that match, of course, he has respect for Nick Aldis. They have teased this way too much to not do it, right? Like, how many times can Randy Orton whoop this dude's ass? How many times? People are asking me what I thought about John's expression post-match. I would imagine that throughout this process, and I'm speaking as someone who has no idea how John Cena feels, but I am going to imagine that this year, almost every place we see him, he's going to have a unique set of emotions, because a lot of the last 25 years are probably going to come rushing to him. So a lot of his memories in St. Louis with Randy Orton, etc., are coming back to him as he wraps up this career. And, you know, that's something only John will be able to explain once he's out of his heel character and stops at the that's a clickbait question shit that he's doing. But I think that probably he is feeling an awful lot of things every time he goes to these buildings, or after every time he's in the ring with somebody, but especially Randy, right? Like, those two were just parallel and a part of the greatest developmental class of all time. So, yeah. You think Cena turns back before this run is over? Asks Zach. Yeah, I think so. I think what he does is he loses the title, and then I think he cuts a promo and he says, I'm sorry. And like maybe even R-Truth comes out there and says, confronts him and all that. And he just, I'm sorry. And then he walks out. He can't quite handle the emotions of the situation. Then he comes out and he takes accountability for everything and says, because, I mean, listen, accountability and all that stuff is very babyface in what he's doing. Like, he's got to. Eventually he does that, because you don't have him getting booed on his way out. He'll make appearances in the future. Like, he'll come out, do an AA, cut a promo, etc. But like, he'll be retired and we'll be moving on, all that stuff. So we'll still see John Cena in the future. We just won't see John Cena doing the matches. And you're not going to have John Cena come back for the rest of his career and expect him to get booed, right? But yeah, if you're Randy Orton, how are you not looking at all this stuff and saying, well, Nick, you got to catch another ass whooping. One RKO was not enough. Gonna need more. Gonna need a little bit more than just my bad. It's a world championship that he just got cost. Guys, get in your super chats. Get in your Humper chats. We would greatly appreciate if you guys did this. Alan says, popping on to say, I'm grateful for the journalistic integrity. Love your work as always. Thank you so much. That it means an awful lot, especially during this week. Oh, man, guys, we got so much cool stuff coming to our YouTube. I don't know what's coming on our YouTube. That sounds gross. But I think it's, let's see, today, obviously, Grapsody. We had that as well. But, man, we got so much good stuff coming this week. I interviewed Kenzie Page, who some of you might go, oh, who's Kenzie Page? The youngest NWA World Women's Champion of all time. How about that one? Talked about the Natalya match that she has coming up, about attacking Natalya at at Bloodsport. I've got Steve Macklin coming on Tuesday. I know we interview Steve Macklin a lot. This was, I think, probably our best interview we've done with Steve Macklin. We talked the NXT partnership, the TNA changes, the blood ban, which, let's be real, he probably had something to do with because of this bloody dog collar match that he had. Paul Walter Hauser. I tell a story about mail fraud. A lot of good stuff. But Good Brothers, we spoke to Good Brothers in their first interview after leaving WWE. They talk about New Japan, AEW, TNA, tell a lot of funny stories about them just like unintentionally giving me scoops during interviews. A whole lot of great stuff in that one. I also spoke to Alex Hammerstone about his return to MLW and the rumors about him joining AEW along with Richard Holiday, but that ain't it. We have 2 action figure videos. One is already out. We look at LJN variants. Jimmy Van has the most complete collection of LJN figures in the world. In the world. Go check that out. He gives us an update on, or gives us not an update, gives us the lowdown on variants. I believe Sunday we have Remco AWA Mat Mania figures. Some of the first wrestling figures very, very early on. There was a battle between Remco and LJN over who would get the WWF license. Then Remco went with AWA. They had the He-Man style figures. There's some really cool ones there. It's not just the basic Remcos. It's the Mat Mania collection, which is kind of rare. Some Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels figures there as well. We also have a series called Fightful Presents. Mike Straw has done a phenomenal job there. We have a playlist, but also just scroll back 11 days, and it's a look at Backstage Assault, the WCW video game with no ring. In addition, he has done History of Tribute to the Troops, Mass Exodus of New Japan to WWE, Heroes of Wrestling, Sonny Siaki, a lot of great stuff over there. Our YouTube channel has so much. We do have more super chats and Humper chats, but I also want to tell you guys, check out our TikTok. We just signed a deal with them. I'm going to be streaming there a lot more. I'm going to try to figure out how to get these shows on there. Also, our Instagram and Facebook, we have so many reels over there. Fightful Scraps. We have a Clips channel. We've got so much stuff. It's unbelievable. And if you speak Spanish, Fightful Espanol. We're going to try to kick off some other channels with that as well, because obviously it's a good time to be in the Espanol market. But let's talk about these super chats and Humper chats that remain. We've got Dave Cost, our friend, says, "Hey, Sean, really easy to watch the show tonight. A lot of about what my guys and I call sports entertainment bullshit, but in quite a fun way. Curious into Lyra and Gunther. What's next? What do you see for them?" They have got to develop contenders for Lyra. If they immediately just be like, "Oh, well, guess what? Here's Roxanne," after she's gone 1-14 on TV, that's going to be so lazy. That's what I expect for them to do, though. I expect for them to immediately have Lyra be like, "Oh, well, I'm coming for the Intercontinental title," or Roxanne after going 1-14. That's what I think they'll do. What they need to do is develop contenders badly. I'm sure Becky will still have a little something to say, but I think that Bayley should take over that. With Gunther, I mean, he showed respect to Pat after the match, so I'm wondering that direction, but I actually wouldn't mind to see him kind of go on that respect tour. I have long said I think he should be blaming Ludwig Kaiser for a little bit of this, and you do like a Raw feud, and you culminate with a very, very good match that they can have. And then Gunther shakes his hand, hugs him, all that. Or that can be the one that Goldberg costs. But I think he's probably headed towards a Goldberg match. It would not surprise me to see that happen at Night of Champions. I'm not reporting that it will, but it wouldn't surprise me to see. Dave Koss also says, props to STL. They were a huge part of what made the show a hit. Not able to watch your show live, so not sure if you chat hated it yet. No, I really liked the St. Louis crowd, especially during the Becky and Lyra match. I really liked that. They helped keep it live, and for every near fall, they were there for it. It was a very good crowd. Of course, they were there for Randy Orton. But I mean, they loved Dominic as well, which I know WWE probably thought this was just a cutesy WrestleMania thing, but it's not, man. Like, the crowd just loves Dominic. People like him now. So let's ride with it. Let's go. Is King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring still happening this year? Evolution 2. I don't know if it's happening. If they did it at Night of Champions, that would make a little bit of sense to me. I saw a thing claiming Evolution 2 might be. Now, I don't want to get it mixed up because Saturday night's main event, that's the same night as All In, didn't look like it was in Texas, which I fully expected. But I feel like Evolution or that Saturday night's main event were going to be in like Atlanta or something. I know there was still some shifting going on with the schedule there. I haven't confirmed that Evolution 2 is happening, but I mean, a lot of reputable people have put that out there. Dave Koss says, one more. I hope you caught all the nuances to Cena's exit tonight. Taking in, thank you, Cena, staring at the little girl with her hand out. All will be used in his face turn story as we go. Yes, I believe that John Cena does stay 20 steps ahead. I believe that he really does think about so many of the things that The Rock claimed that he thought of that we now know were not things that were thought of, that were happy accidents. I believe that John Cena really does do those things. And he is setting up WWE production and probably going to them each time and saying, make sure you use that, make sure you use that, make sure you use that. And that, listen, John Cena cares about the future of wrestling. You can say what you want about him not putting over the Nexus way back when or something like that, but he's done a lot of putting people over in the last however many years. And this run is going to be helpful towards that. Sometimes the best way to put people over is to have the best story in the company. And I feel like the best opportunity for a story still is John Cena threatening to take the championship with him and nobody being a real champion after him. Ending the lineage. It's like Amanda Nunes coming back. You always wonder, okay, is anybody better than her? Is anybody going to be better than Khabib Nurmagomedov? Was anybody going to be better than George St. Pierre? What about John Jones at light heavyweight? We don't know. We will never know now. Guys, there is the UFC show tonight. It's on right now, the pay-per-view. I'm going to catch a little bit of that. But, man, I really enjoyed hanging out and talking with you guys. I'm over in the Discord every day answering your questions. Here's a good time to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. My Q&A form goes up on Sunday. And not only do I answer them on the Q&A show, like we have 5 to 7 articles on Fightful Select a week that is just me answering questions. So if you want to see what all the fuss is about, you want to see what everybody is aggregating, but you also want to be a part of this community where, listen, it is so much less toxic than unnamed places. I'll say that. It's a wonderful community that I really love. Somebody said, hey, you want to go back to your safe space on Discord? Fuck yeah, I do. It rules there. Looking forward to continue to talk to you guys there. Enjoyed tonight's show as well. Had a good time. I want to thank our sponsors, helixsleep.com/Fightful. Truly the best night's sleep I ever got, and I get that every night now. BlueChew.com and the code Fightful when you want to keep somebody from having too much sleep. NordVPN.com/Fightful, one of our most versatile sponsors ever. And of course, Bet Online. And listen, guys, y'all like what you hear? We are here almost every single night. And how about this? How about this one? Head over to Fightful Select right now, and Kate and Alex have another review. If you hated this show, if you hated the main event, boy, is that the review show for you. I want to say thank you all so much. Until next time, my friends.